Hey everybody, welcome back to Tech Odyssey. So today I'm here with kind of a review of the S21 FE. I have some thoughts and I wanted to put them down on digital paper and talk to you guys about them. I've been using this phone, I guess for about a week now, and I gotta say I do like it. I don't like that it was $699. I feel like it should be less than that, but we are where we are, and I got a great trade-in deal on it, so it was actually very worthwhile for me to get it. Now, having used it, I actually, like I said, I like it quite a bit. I like the form factor. I like how light and thin it is. And that's something that I think has been underrated over the last couple of years because the emphasis is always bigger, 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 more expensive, heavier, heavier. So in the grand scheme of things, if you look at what an S21 Ultra cost at the beginning of last year, $1199. If you look at the S21 Plus at $999, well, this has a slightly bigger screen than the S21, the same power under the hood, basically the same screen. Yeah, there's a couple things that are give and take, but by and large, at $699, it's not the end of the world. And you know Samsung, they're always in for giving you a deal. So I'm going to take the case off. I just got this case the other day. This is actually a Caseology Vault series, and I do like this as well. So I'll just throw it out there. I got it for like 13 bucks on Amazon. It has kind of this little line pattern there, but either way, it has like this corrugated rubber texture to it. So it has a little bit of texture, a little bit of grip. It doesn't get oily and greasy as you use it, and it complements and fits on the phone nicely. So that's a nice little review there, I guess. It doesn't cost a lot. You can get it easily. I got it like same day or next day delivery on Amazon, and it's protective enough. I mean, it's something that doesn't obscure the form factor too much. It doesn't make it too bulky. Anyway, so as I've been using it, it feels nice and zippy. I like the 120 hertz. The screen on this is beautiful. And that's kind of like the comparison I've had before with like the Tab S7 FE. The screen actually looks a lot nicer than I expected it to. Samsung knows how to do one thing really well, and that's to make a good screen. And it's funny because a lot of different manufacturers like Apple and other ones, they buy Samsung panels and put them in their phones. So this one right here, it looks nice. The optical fingerprint sensor is probably the best I've ever used. It's very nice. It's very accurate. It's very you have to hold a little bit longer. It's not like the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor that's on the S21 proper, S21 Plus and Ultra. But I like the thin form factor. I like how light it is. I like how easy it is to hold in the hand. I like that they shaved down the camera bump here because the camera bump was kind of annoying and kind of large on the other S21 phones. Stereo speakers are solid. The build quality is solid. It's got Glassic on the back, which is their glass-infused plastic, their proprietary thing that they make. It's supposed to be more durable than glass. I don't disagree. I don't mind it being on the back of the phone. As long as it's got the Gorilla Glass Victus on the front, which it does, then it actually works out pretty nice because it helps keep the weight down, doesn't have the extra glass slab on the back, and it's not prone to fingerprints or scratches, which is also nice. So you can eat your pizza and touch this to your heart's content, and it doesn't get all greased up and disgusting looking, doesn't show fingerprints. So you don't even need to put it in a case to hide it from being ugly, from having a glossy texture to it. You do want to put it in a case though because you don't want to mess it up. So that's the reason. Honestly though, I've been carrying it for all week without a case because Amazon kind of screwed me. I ordered a case, it was supposed to be here next day delivery, and then for 4 or 5 days it just never showed up. So I canceled it and I ordered this one and got it same day. Actually, I ordered same-day delivery and paid extra money for the screen protector as well, and it didn't show up, and it cost me $2.99, so I gotta go take that up with them. Anyway, so lots of power. The 6 gigs of RAM, I don't notice at all, so that's kind of complimentary. Over the years, it's been like, okay, it's a race to put more RAM, right? We need 8 gigs, we need 12 gigs, we need 16 gigs. I mean, shoot, my gaming PC only has 16 gigs of RAM. Why does a phone, right? And then they charge you out the rear for it. I don't know if you know this or not, but RAM costs basically next to nothing. If you're gonna put 8 gigs in there, it's probably cost them 30 cents extra to put 12. So I always hate that because I feel like they're using that as a toy to try and make you think that you need more because they put more in there, but you really don't. So 6 is still very good. It's going to do basically everything you want. The only limitation might be opening a bunch of games and apps and having them at the same time. But you have good active memory management that'll close that stuff anyway, so you don't have to worry about it too much. So maybe a couple years ago, 6 would have been on the verge of not being enough, but nowadays with the active RAM management and Android 12 and the efficiency of the operating systems, it's a lot better because the thing is your phone basically sets aside about 2 gigs it's always using. So really you only have about 4 for active. So if you've got like a really big game, of course, when you're playing that game, you're not running other apps. So then it doesn't really matter that much, right? So that's the thing with RAM. If you have enough, it doesn't matter if you have 50 gigs or if you have 8. If you're not using the 8, nobody cares if you have 50 because you're not going to use it. 128 gigs of storage. My point of contention here is it doesn't have SD card expandable storage. That I think is kind of a ripoff, especially since this is supposed to be the fan edition phone, right? And the S20 FE had it. IP68. One cool feature here is you get this dual screen recording. They call it dual recording in the camera, where it uses the front screen and the back at the same time. So you can see yourself while you're recording and record both of them. So if you want to put like your captions and stuff on it, if you want, it's kind of like when you watch people on Twitch. They're playing a game and also you can see their face at the same time. Very easy to flip it around so you can have yourself on the small screen and then what you're recording on the primary screen. So I like they included that in here. This is kind of underrated as well. The fingerprint sensor works while the screen is off. There we go, if I can find it, which is nice. Other optical fingerprint sensors don't do that, and it's a really neat feature, so I like that as well. I like a lot about this phone. This phone is very good at $699. My criticisms I've had, of course, are because, well, the S21 itself is $799. You can get them on sale and discount now, and the S22 is right around the corner. So I don't like the timing. I don't like the price. I mean, you still get flagship level performance. It's still got a Snapdragon 888 in here, which is really fantastic. The Snapdragon 8 Generation 1 is not here in the S22 yet, so this is still basically the best Snapdragon out on the market. I know they've got the Gen 1 in a couple of other overseas phones, but it's really not widely available yet. It's not really like the thing yet. So a Snapdragon 888, nothing to slouch at. Solid speakers. The cameras aren't as impressive as I would like for them to be. The zoom is good, but when you compare that with like the S21 Ultra, of course it loses. That telephoto, that telescopic lens that it has is just so good. But this one, 30 times zoom, it works out pretty well. Better than a lot of other stuff in the competition at this price point, if it even has that ability. And then you look at the primary camera. It kind of softens stuff up a little bit. It makes it look a little washed out, especially when it comes to HDR and with the overexposure from the light. When you're outside, when there's a bright light shining on things, especially on the selfie camera, it shows too much light, not enough texture, not enough feature, not enough skin tone. So the cameras are not otherworldly amazing. They are very good for what you get. They're very serviceable. But when you look at like what you can get with the iPhone 11 or the iPhone 12 or the iPhone 13, yeah, you're going to pay a little bit more or the same price and get a much, much better camera setup. So if you want camera and video, I would say still go with an iPhone 12, iPhone 13, maybe even iPhone 13 mini if you want something smaller and more affordable. And then when you look at this one, it's got basically a lot of everything. Like this is like the Swiss Army knife of the value flagship tier. It has basically everything you could possibly throw at it other than an SD card and, of course, no power brick now. It's so annoying. It's a fan edition phone. You get no SD card slot, you get no power brick, and there's no headphone jack, which of course wasn't in the S20 FE last year. So, I don't know, what does fan edition even mean at this point if they don't really listen to input from their fans and don't put fan favorite features in there and don't give you a charger? I know we ripped that Band-Aid off last year, but it's still very traumatic and it still pisses me off. How are you going to have a fan edition phone? It's supposed to be a value level flagship, and they just take the chargers out of everything. And the chargers they used to give you don't give you the max charging anyway. They undercharge for what you need. So it's one of those things where the ones out on the market, they say, oh, there's enough chargers. That's like Apple. Oh, there's chargers out there. Look, they're 5 watt. You know how long it's going to take to charge your iPhone 13 Pro with a 5 watt charger? They're doing this to make people go out and buy new chargers. All it is, it's a big sham and a ploy to get people to buy more stuff, not to save the environment. You're just making more e-waste is all you're doing. So anyway, lots of thoughts on the phone. I like it so far. If you pick it up, you're going to enjoy it. Like I said again, the cameras are not the most amazing in the world. Like the Pixel still wins out in that department, but this one wins with the telephoto. The selfie camera, yeah, it's 32 megapixels, but that's really you don't need a 32 megapixel selfie. And certainly this one's not as good as most 10 or 12 megapixel selfies you get in a lot of other Samsung phones. So they could have put a better one in there. They could have used one that they rehashed it from like a year ago, right? Use the same one that was in the S20. Very good selfie camera. I liked it a lot. But for what you get, $699. If you can get one on a deal, if you get one on a trade-in special or carrier financing or free for 2 years on payment plan, It's a solid phone. I think a lot of people are probably going to pick it up. I think internationally this is a great option because internationally, especially in Europe, a lot of times people get the Exynos chip, and this one is going to be, I believe, Snapdragon. So Snapdragon is, I think, a much better processor than the Exynos. It's going to serve you well, and you can do your gaming on here. You can do your high-intensity gaming, play League of Legends, Wild Rift. You can play Fortnite. You can play all the stuff the cool kids play nowadays. Like not old man games like me where I'm still playing Boom Beach and Alto's Odyssey. But you can do that as well, right? So anyway, I've been using it for about a week. I wanted to recap, come back, talk about some stuff. The battery life has been good so far. Now that I've got into the territory where the adaptive battery has kind of learned all my habits and behaviors, I'll follow up with an actual battery life test and show you some of that stuff here this next week. But I wanted to touch base on this, talk about it, quit talking about Pixel for a day, and let the world know, look, yes, I have criticisms on it, which are not really based on the actual phone itself, more so the way Samsung has put this in at the beginning of this year. The S22 is right around the corner. I don't like the pricing because it's so close to what you can get an actual S21 for, which is a better phone in most ways. So that's all I got. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave those down in the comment section, and I will get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button. Hit both of them. And the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out, which is every day. So if you don't want notifications every day, don't press that. I'm warned you. I have warned you. Anyway, so as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching. And me and the S21 FE, we'll see you next time.